Order! Order, ladies and gentlemen. Order. So on the behalf of Miss William Hayter's family, I'm here to be entrusted with this auction. The auction of these items, which are once found in the wreckage of the South Hill Park Mansion in 1879 because of a fire trauma. So please take a seat, ladies and gentlemen. Take a seat. Please help yourself, order bidders. Help yourself with the seat. Now you're not just witnessing a business, but also the backdrop of the tragedy embodied within all these items. Ladies and gentlemen, take a seat. And our workshop has restored all of this from pieces and fitted parts up, of this. And then we can get a hint of how this might look like as reassembled. So first item, so should we start at lot 463, ladies and gentlemen. So a vest for Mrs. Hayter's bedroom. Bedroom's production by Oriental ceramic. Well, some of you may recall a mystery carried with this item. From what we heard from the servant of the mansion, sometimes there will be the sound of dropping. In obviousness, come out of this item from Mrs. Hayter's bedroom. Every time, because it's only ceramic object in Mrs. Hayter's bedroom. During that time, Miss Hayter has always come back quite late at night because of his involvement in political activities at that moment. Around every midnight, as Miss Hayter come back, the sound of this dropping, boom, thing like that, will come out of Mrs. Hayter's bedroom. Silently, out of the silence, incessantly emergent from that space. But what should be questioned, as we are told by a servant as well? The sound of hitting is in a peculiar manner as it come out, because it's in obviousness not the sound of hitting between the ceramic object and the mahogany floor of the mansion. So supposedly, likewise, Mrs. Hayter has begun to have dinner upstairs in her bedroom from the summer of 1863, 10 years after her son was born. So therefore, after the burning of house, we have found out actually there's an amateur embodied within the vase. So it becomes organic as such within the bones. It is somehow as a kind of leftover. It becomes the phonetic leftover of presumably anxiety and resistance, we assume. So then, ladies and gentlemen, do I have 70 pounds? What about 50? 50 and bad. 60. 60, sir. Sir, your number? 70. 70 against you, sir. 70, 80. 80 once. Selling twice. Sold to Mayor Arthur Taylor. So then, ladies and gentlemen, lot 464. A pair of candlestick was set in the drawing room of the house, posited on a mahogany shelf and underneath the mirror. As you might see, one of which might be broken. It might be hewed into half and become unrestorable from our workshop, in fact. And each even looks quite different from the other, though our client is still considering it as a pair of objects to be sold with. Well, our workshop is still questioning the unrestorability of the object. If this will be in fact burned, how it could be hewed as such? How it could be reconstructed? It could be in fact reconstructed with just the texture of being burnt. So all the bidders. So assume if it would be in fact burnt, it can be reconstructible. So we assume it is actually destroyed before the fire. In certain pre-fire event, the destruction has already happened. Therefore, the unrestorability could be assumed as such. And some parenting event, ladies and gentlemen, you point out that the object might be one of the direct causes of the fire trauma as well. As from what it was heard from our investigation, the fire was in most likelihood to be triggered in the drawing room. In the drawing room in the house. Whereas the fireplace is still there at that moment and was always on in the drawing room. So we cannot really confirm about the fact now. We still need to be further discussed and investigated in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, £10 for the pair of candlestick. £10. Thank you. £10 still. 15. Thank you, sir. 15. Sir, your number? 50 and bid. And bid. Going at 15. So your number, sir? Thank you. So then we are at lot 465. The remain of the mahogany bookshelf. Once, from the 1831 production of Rose That Hillside by Pinkston. Other pieces of the bookshelf are lost in the wreckage, and from the heat, it is quite in obviousness, deformed and reformed as such. It is once sat in the library room of the house where Miss Hayter's son always preferred to stay. Initially, there should be 4 bookshelves set in the library room. All the books put in were burnt in the ash. Yet from our discovery, there was a silver cartridge found in the ash of the book. Silver cartridge. A silver cutlery knife unearthed from the ash. Therefore, the mystery has been carried on with this item. And from the whisper of the people related, the light of this room upstairs will be still on from the winter 1871. And likewise, the sound of treading was recurrent for years and nights. And there will be voice of rumbling as well, seemingly from Miss Hayter and his son. So may I start at 20 pounds for this mahogany bookshelf. What about 50? 50 then. Sure, 50 and bad. Bid. 25. 25 once. 30. Sure, sir. Sir? 35, sir. From you, sir? Well, you give me 35. So 45. 45 once. Selling twice. 50. 50. 50 once. Well, I have 50. Well, give me 50, sir. Sure, 50 once. Selling twice. Sold to Lady Loris. So, ladies and gentlemen, lot 466. A part of the oak tea table, once also formed as part of the drawing room. From 1871 production by Charles Hampson. Somehow there's a hole on the top of it. And in our workshop we are then questioning the initial design of the furniture as where could be the supporting armchair situated at. It simply becomes manual as to this initial hollowness in the middle of the tabletop. And maybe it was used for hiding something inside from our presumption for this. Then we're also told that this item has been discovered in the lake or the park, alongside with the discovery of Miss Hayter's body in the lake, found drowned in December 1878, few months before the fire, and forms another concurrence, which further mystified the fire event, which might be considered as manually caused as such. Meanwhile, as this item were found, it was completely soaked and decomposed as well, as if it was thrown into the lake days ago or the like. So, ladies and gentlemen, 30 pounds and bid. 30 pounds for this, thank you. 30 pounds still, 40. 40, your number, 40. Thank you, sir. 40 and bid. Going at 40. Going at 40. Your number, sir. Sold. So lot 467. I want a chair in pieces. We're not really restoring this in a complete way, as it is too small for an adult. So we could then assume that it is the one which might be particularly used for Miss Hayter's song in his infant stage. In obviousness, it was still quite intact, to be honest, initially, as we have discovered it from the wreckage beside of the central broken part between the back and the seat. So, and almost all the feet of it were lost in the fire as well. So then it could be questioned that this item, suspected, like other items, it might be broken before the fire other than through the fire as the instrument. And then we are told that this item was once also stolen by one of the servants in the house, yet later being captured with lifelong title of being a guilty man, executed as well. It was stolen at that day just before Miss Hayter was found drowned in the lake. What a concurrence! Perhaps we may frighten away the ghost of so many years ago with more illustration, gentlemen. So, should we start at 50 pounds for this? 50 pounds, thank you. 55, 60, thank you, sir. Well, you'll go again, sir. 70 pounds. 70 pounds still. And be at 70. Going at 70. Going at 70. Sold to Lord Lushington. So then we're here at lot 468. Ladies and gentlemen. The upper part of a mahogany spotting armchair for female dress, especially for formal feast. Supposedly it was once used by Mrs. Hayter. And the whole armchair is used to be set in the middle of the corridor for its display downstairs. You know, as what Mrs. Hayter preferred, because of the aesthetic reason involved in this structure itself. Well, only the upper part of it, the upper part for the breast is maintained from the fire. Because there was a silver shed covered on the top as the fire happened. Therefore, this part could be maintained as such. Well, thereby one could also speak that this item might not experience its first time of being damaged in the fire, suspected like other items, was what to be considered with its pre-fire damage. As reported from a workshop, it has been found really fragile. Out of the consideration of the fire as such. Well, we have no idea whether it was destroyed as Mrs. Hayter was wearing it for certain events or as it is in the process of display. Initially, this item haven't got permission to be stored with. But later, because of its fact of being burned and destroyed, though it's still the direct heritage of the Hayter family, which you get permission to take it in this auction for a homage to Mrs. Hayter. So we start at £10 for this. £10. Bid. Now 20. Now 20. Well, give me 20, sir. Your number, sir. Oh, sure. 30. So now 30. Going at 30. Well, you give me 30, sir. 40. 40. 40 once. Selling twice. Sold to Mayor Brockington. So then, ladies and gentlemen, please calm down. Order, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there are more items waiting for the permission from people who were once entrusted by the Hayter family. But in fact, we're making history today to pay homage to the Hayter family and to mourn for Miss Hayter's death and these people who once died in the fire. Miss Hayter would never know the impact of his suicide to his family and the fire event afterward. It was a struggling time imbued of political activities and resistance. So all these elements, metaphorically and implicitly, forms the causes of fire events, which cultivate the tragedy, cultivate the mystery, and being mesomorphic as such requires meaning again and again through more and more rereading by form of auction as such. So then, ladies and gentlemen, really appreciating your participation today to today's history formed, today's history conducted. But we meet again, ladies and gentlemen.